Hey guys, it's Maddie. Welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, then welcome. Today I will be doing the Netflix book tag. I'm really pumped to do this tag because as far as I know, this is like the only tag that I've actually been tagged to do. As far as I know, because there is a chance that there might have been tags done that I have been tagged in, but I'm not aware of it. But this is like one of the first tags that I've actually been tagged in, because whenever I do a tag, it's just because I want to do the tag, not that I have been tagged in it. So thank you so much to Dro Talks on YouTube for tagging me to do the Netflix book tag. I am super honored that you tagged me. I will leave a link to his channel down in the description so that you can check him out if you want to. So this is a tag that has to do with Netflix, and the questions are based on certain features that Netflix has. Before I was tagged to do this one, I have been actually wanting to do this tag because I love Netflix. I don't watch it as much as a lot of people do, but I still really love watching Netflix. Except I wish they would have more shows that I actually want to watch. Whenever I go on Netflix, there's always a bunch of shows that I'm like, I don't want to watch these. Can you just put out every single Disney movie ever made, because I will watch those. Put out like old Nickelodeon shows, because I will watch those. All the shows that they have on Netflix, I'm just like, I don't want to watch these. I'd rather watch like nostalgic kids shows, pretty much is what I'm saying. So without any further talking, let's just get into the questions. The first question is recently watched. The last book you finished reading. So the last book I read was Chevalier by Brie M. Lewandowski. I read this book a month ago. That was the last book I read. Man, my reading slump right now is really bad. I like this book a lot. This is a book that is pretty much a novella. It's super short and it is a fantasy. I have a review on this book, so if you want to know more about this book, I will leave it linked in the card. I'm still like cringing that was the last book I read and it was a month ago. I hate that. Question number 2 is top picks. A book or books that have been recommended to you based on books that you have previously read. I really could not come up with an answer for this one. The thing is that I don't get a lot of books personally recommended to me, so it was hard to come up with an answer for this one, and I'm still struggling. I guess I would say that I think I have been recommended Sarah Dessen books in the past because I love YA contemporary. That is the closest I can come up with, and I have yet to read one of her books. I have tried 2 of her books before and I actually DNF'd them because I couldn't get into them, so I'm kind of nervous to start her book, but I'm not giving up on that author. I just haven't found the right book by her yet, but she has such a huge selection of books out that I'm sure there is a hidden gem in there somewhere. This question is recently added. What is the last book you bought? So I actually can't remember the last book I bought because I haven't bought a book in like 2 months, so I don't really remember what was the last one I bought. So I just took a wild guess on the last book I bought, and I think that book was The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I remember I bought this book, I think in February. Oh, it was pretty recently. I bought this book right around the time when it came out because I've been so eager to read this book, but I haven't picked it up yet because I want to read The Darkest Part of the Forest first, and I haven't picked up The Darkest Part of the Forest, so I just need to get on that so I can read this book. I've heard some not great things about this book, but from the majority of the people who have read this book and from what I've heard, a lot of people enjoyed this one, so I really need to get to it really soon. Question number 4 is popular on Netflix. Books that everyone knows about, 2 you've read and 2 you have no interest in reading. So starting with the 2 books that I have read that pretty much everyone knows about. The first one, pretty obvious, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I'd be surprised if you haven't heard about this book at least once. It is super popular on BookTube, on Goodreads, on Bookstagram is a big one. It is my favorite fantasy series. It is so good. I'm telling you guys, the hype is legit for this one. And the next one that so many people talk about still, and this book came out like early last year, is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I just recently read this one. I read it in April. And I liked it. But I don't love it as much as pretty much everyone else does, which left me really sad. I think the problem with this one is that it was so hyped up that my expectations were through the roof for this one. So I was expecting a lot more from it, and I didn't get that. But there were still parts of this book that I did like, as well as parts that I also found kind of problematic that I'm surprised a lot of people didn't catch up on, but maybe it's just me. So I had problems with this book, surprisingly, because everyone loves this book, but there are still parts of it that I did like. I'm pretty sure you have heard about this book because it is everywhere. It is getting a movie as well, which I'm really looking forward to seeing. And then 2 books that are extremely popular that I have no interest in reading. So this first one, I've always thought, like, I think I'm gonna read this book, but it's not at the top of my TBR whatsoever because I'm really intimidated by it. And in all likeliness, I'm probably never going to read this series. It is the A Game of Thrones series by George R.R. Martin. This is a high fantasy series. That's the first issue I have with it. I find high fantasy extremely hard for me to get into because the things in high fantasy go so over my head. So I have a feeling I'm going to have a hard time understanding this series, so I might want to avoid it, but I'm still a little intrigued by it because it's really popular. What I might do is I might just skip out on reading the books and I might just watch the TV show because I feel like the TV show might be a little bit easier for me to understand. So being realistic, I probably won't read these books even though I own the first book. But we'll just see. We'll just see about this one. I'm not quite sure about it. And the second book I absolutely have no interest in reading is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. This is a book that is kind of a spin-off from Fangirl. If you are familiar with my channel, you will know that I really disliked Fangirl. So I don't want to read a book that is a spin-off from it. Also, the synopsis of this book sounds like something I won't like. So I'm just going to avoid it. Don't have any interest in reading it. Next question is comedies, a funny book. I have read quite a handful of funny books, but one that really stands out to me is My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jodi Meadows. This is a book that follows Queen Jane, who ruled for 9 days before she was killed. And what really makes it funny is that this book is inspired off of someone who is involved with such a dark topic, but the book itself is actually hilarious. It has a lot of satire that I just found really, really funny. If you are looking for a funny book, this is a great one. It's also a historical fiction. I'm so excited to read the second book in the series that follows Jane from Jane Eyre. And before I read that book, I actually want to read Jane Eyre first so that I am familiar with the source material, and I'm hoping that book will be just as funny as My Lady Jane was. This question is dramas, a character who is a drama queen or king. I have come across a lot of characters who are drama queens or kings. The one that is on my mind right now, because I am currently rereading this book and I have realized how much the main character is kind of a drama queen. That is Corey from Infinity by Jess Accardo. Since I am reading this book, it is really fresh on my mind, and I hadn't realized beforehand how much of a drama queen Corey is. But that's what makes her narrative so funny. She has a lot of inner dialogue that is so sarcastic, and the things she says and her thoughts are just really hilarious. I find myself laughing at a bunch of parts in this book because her narrative is just so funny and I really enjoy it. She is one drama queen that I actually really enjoy reading. Question number 7 is animated, a book with cartoons on the cover. So I'm going with a manga, since manga is full of drawings that could be compared to a cartoonish style. So I picked Ouran High School Host Club because this is the manga series that I am currently reading. I am currently rereading. I'm rereading it again because I love this series so much and I actually do want to get a review out for it. So I'm trying to refresh my memory on these books. And with these books, it's not only the cover that is animated, but the whole entire book is full of drawings that can be compared to cartoons. Even though I wouldn't consider either anime or manga to be a cartoon style. Oh, that is one of my biggest pet peeves when manga and anime is compared to kids' cartoons, because I'm like, no, it is not. If you actually saw the majority of anime that is out there, you will know that most anime is not for kids. A lot of anime can actually be really, really graphic, so it's not realistic to compare them to kids' cartoons. That is your PSA for today. Question number 8 is Watch It Again, a book that you want to reread. This one's hard because there are so many books that I want to reread. I came up with one though that I'm probably going to be rereading fairly soon. That is Warcross by Marie Lu. Because the second book is coming out later on this year, I do want to reread this book so that I can remember what happened in it. And I'm really looking forward to rereading this book because I enjoyed this book so much. It is one of my favorite books that I read last year, so I'm looking forward to the time soon when I do reread it again. Number 9 is Documentaries, a nonfiction book you'd recommend to everyone. I don't read a lot of nonfiction, if any. The only one I could think of for this question is the Reputation magazines by Taylor Swift that came out last year. These are magazines full of photos and information about what Taylor did in the midst of making her Reputation album. They are really, really cool. They have a lot of stunning photos in them. And each of the 2 books has a poem that Taylor wrote herself. Both of the poems are so beautiful. I would highly recommend to read them. They are so powerful. And of course I enjoy these because I love Taylor so much. And I would recommend them to you if you are a big Taylor Swift fan. Question 10 is Action and Adventure, an action-packed book. I could think of no greater book for this question than The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. If you have read this book, you know how much action is in it because it's full of kids killing each other, which results in a ton of action. One of the things I love most about these books is that they are so action-filled. There's constantly something going on during the Hunger Games especially. So of course I enjoy these books because of that, and I would recommend for you to read them if you haven't yet, and if you haven't, I am super surprised because I feel like pretty much everyone has read these books. So you need to get on that bandwagon already if you haven't. And the last question is new releases, a book that just recently came out or a book that will be coming out that you can't wait to read. So for this one, I chose a book that is coming out in October that I am so excited for, and that is The Darkest Star by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Of course, Jennifer is my favorite author, so it's kind of expected that I will be super excited for any book that she will be coming out with. This is a book that is a spin-off to her Luck series, and it takes place 4 or 5 years after the last book in that series. So I haven't finished the Luck series yet. I still need to get to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th book in the series. But I have a feeling that by the time this book comes out that I will have caught up with the series already. So I will be prepared to read this book. Even though it is a spin-off, I still want to finish this series before I get on to that book, because it does contain characters from the Luck series as well as new characters that are introduced. So really looking forward to this one. I can't wait to read it and keep reading about the characters from the Luck series as well as getting introduced to new ones. And lastly, the last category is map. And for that, you have to tag people. So I'm going to tag 2 YouTube channels. The first one is Evil Queen Books, and the second one is Rather Be Reading. So if you 2 are watching this video, you are tagged, and I hope to see this tag from you really soon. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below for more bookish related videos and Tag Tuesdays. Also be sure to click that notification button down by the subscribe button so that you are notified when I post new videos. If you want to hear more from me outside of YouTube, be sure to follow my social media, which is Instagram and Twitter. The handle for both of those is Miss Natty Reads, and the link to those accounts will be down in the description box. I'll be back really soon. Bye.